Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the stars through the large front window. His cargo ship, the New Horizon, carried food and medicine to human colonies that needed help. Jake had been a military officer before becoming a merchant captain. He knew how to fight, but these days he preferred helping people. "Captain, we're getting close to the trade station," said Lisa Chang, his navigator. She was young but very good at her job. "Should be there in about 30 minutes. "Good work, Lisa," Jake replied. He turned to his engineer, Tony Rodriguez, who was checking the ship's systems. "How are we looking, Tony?" "All good, Captain. The engines are running smooth, and we have plenty of power," Tony answered with a smile. The trade station orbited around a planet called Kepler 442b. It was a place where humans and aliens could meet to buy and sell things. Jake had been here many times before, but today felt different. There had been rumors about alien attacks on human colonies. The Zephyrian Confederation was causing trouble. They were a group of 3 alien species that worked together. They had strong weapons and thought humans were weak and stupid. The Zephyrians believed humans had taken too much space that belonged to them. As they got closer to the station, Jake saw something that made his stomach feel sick. 3 large alien warships were floating near the trading post. They were Zephyrian ships with their ugly green and black colors. "Captain, I'm getting radio messages from the station," Lisa said, her voice worried. "It sounds like there's trouble." Jake put on his headset to listen. He could hear scared human voices talking about alien soldiers on the station. The Zephyrians were demanding money from all the human traders. Anyone who said no was being arrested. "Take us in slow," Jake told Lisa. "But keep the engines ready in case we need to leave fast." When they got close enough, Jake could see alien soldiers walking around the station. They carried big energy weapons that glowed blue. Human traders were lined up with their hands up, looking scared. Then Jake saw something that made him very angry. A tall alien with scaly skin and red eyes was standing in front of a group of humans. This was Commander Vextor, one of the most feared Zephyrian leaders. He was pointing his weapon at an old human man who was shaking with fear. "You humans think you can refuse to pay?" Vextor said in his rough voice. "You will learn what happens when you make us angry." The alien pulled the trigger. A bright flash filled the area and the old man fell down. He was dead. Other humans started crying and screaming. "All humans in this sector have 72 hours, Vextor announced loudly so everyone could hear. "Leave all colonies beyond your home system, or we will destroy every human we find. Your species has spread too far. It is time to go back where you belong." Jake's hands made fists. He wanted to help those people, but his ship only had small defensive weapons. The alien warships could destroy them easily. "Captain, we should go," Tony said quietly. "There's nothing we can do here." Jake knew Tony was right, but it hurt to leave. As they turned away from the station, Jake saw more human traders being hurt by the alien soldiers. He made a promise to himself that somehow the aliens would pay for this. "Set course for Earth," Jake ordered. "Maximum speed." "That will take us 3 days," Lisa said. "Then we better hope Earth is ready for what's coming," Jake replied. On Earth, President Karen Walsh was in an important meeting. She had just heard the news about what happened at the trade station. Her advisors were arguing about what to do. "We need to fight back now," said Mike Johnson, the defense secretary. He was a big man with gray hair who had been a soldier for many years. "If we wait, more humans will die." "Fighting will only make things worse," argued Helen Brooks, the Secretary of State. She was a smart woman who preferred talking to fighting. "We should try to make peace with them." "Peace?" Mike said angrily. "They just killed innocent people." "There can be no peace with murderers." President Walsh listened to both of them. She was trying to decide what was best for humanity. Then she looked at Admiral Chris Taylor, who was sitting quietly in the corner. He was the head of Earth's Space Defense Command, but he seemed very calm for someone hearing such bad news. "Admiral Taylor, what do you think we should do?" the president asked. Admiral Taylor looked up with a small smile. "Madam President, I think it's time we had a private talk." Meanwhile, Jake's ship was flying through space as fast as it could go. They had to dodge 2 Zephyrian patrol ships on the way home. Each time Jake felt lucky they escaped. "Captain, why do you think the Admiral seemed so calm?" Lisa asked. She had been thinking about the news reports from Earth. "I don't know," Jake said, "but I hope he knows something we don't." Far out in space, beyond where most people ever went, something strange was happening. Old machines that had been sleeping for many years were waking up. Radio signals were being sent to places that weren't on any normal maps. At a secret base hidden in the Oort cloud, alarms started ringing. Commander Alex Rivera looked at his computer screen and saw a message he had been waiting for his whole career. After 20 years of training and hiding, the time had finally come. "Wake everyone up," Alex ordered his staff. "Send the coded signals to all other bases. Operation Lazarus is active." Dr. Maya Patel was working late in her laboratory when the message came. She had spent 30 years developing weapons that no one knew existed. Her quantum computers and particle beam technology were far beyond anything the aliens had seen. "Finally," she whispered to herself. "Time to show these aliens what humans can really do." Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes was training with his pilots when the alert came through. His Shadow Squadron had been practicing in secret for decades, flying ships that officially didn't exist. Captain Sophie Kim and Major Danny Clark looked at their commander with excitement. "Is this real, sir?" Sophie asked. "Yes," Ben replied with a serious face. "This is what we trained for. Get ready, people. The galaxy is about to learn that Earth has been preparing for this day for a very long time." As Jake's ship continued toward Earth, he didn't know that his message about the alien ultimatum had started something much bigger than he could imagine. The aliens thought they were attacking a weak species with simple weapons. They were about to discover how wrong they were. Admiral Taylor walked into President Walsh's private office and closed the door behind him. He looked around to make sure they were alone, then sat down across from her desk. "Madam President, what I'm about to tell you is known by only 12 people on Earth," he said in a quiet voice. 53 years ago, when we first met hostile aliens, we started a secret project called Dark Shield." President Walsh leaned forward. She had heard rumors about secret military projects but never knew the details. "We learned that day that Earth needed real protection," Admiral Taylor continued, "so we began building a hidden fleet. Ships that don't appear on any public records. Weapons that the galaxy has never seen. We've been preparing for this moment for over 5 decades. The president stared at him with wide eyes. "How big is this secret fleet?" "Big enough," Admiral Taylor replied with a small smile. "And it's time the aliens learned about it." Far out in the cold darkness of space, Commander Alex Rivera was looking at his secret base. Outpost Cerberus was built inside a large asteroid in the Oort cloud. From the outside, it looked like just another space rock. Inside, it was one of the most advanced military facilities ever created by humans. "Status report," Alex said to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Sarah Mills. "All systems are active, sir," Sarah replied. "The shipyard bays are opening now. The crews are getting the Olympus ready for launch." Alex walked to a large window that looked down into the asteroid's center. What he saw would have shocked anyone who thought they knew Earth's real military strength. Dozens of warships were floating in the hidden bays. These weren't the simple fusion-powered ships that aliens had seen before. These were advanced vessels with technology that most humans didn't even know existed. The biggest ship was the UHS Olympus, a massive dreadnought that had taken 20 years to build. Its armor was made from materials that could repair themselves. Its weapons used quantum energy that could cut through any known defense. Dr. Maya Patel was working in her laboratory on the surface of the moon. Her facility was hidden under a fake mining station. She had spent her whole career developing weapons that pushed the limits of science. "The quantum entanglement communication system is ready," she told her assistant, Dr. Frank Carter. "Our ships will be able to talk to each other instantly, no matter how far apart they are." "What about the new particle beams?" Frank asked. "They're beyond anything the Zephyrians have," Maya smiled. "Their energy shields won't even slow our weapons down." Maya had reverse-engineered technology from 6 different alien species that Earth had encountered in secret over the years. She combined their best ideas with human creativity to make weapons that were truly revolutionary. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes was at another hidden base on Mars. His Shadow Squadron had been training there for 15 years, learning to fly fighters that officially didn't exist. His best pilots, Captain Sophie Kim and Major Danny Clark, were checking their ships. "How do you feel about finally using all this training?" Sophie asked Danny as they walked around their fighters. "Scared and excited at the same time," Danny replied honestly. "We've been preparing for this our whole careers, but now it's real." Their fighters were small but incredibly advanced. They used adaptive camouflage that made them nearly invisible. Their weapons were miniaturized versions of Dr. Patel's particle beams. A single fighter could destroy ships much larger than itself. Ben looked at his squadron of 30 pilots. They were the best humanity had ever produced, trained in secret to be Earth's hidden sword. Remember everything you learned, he told them. The aliens think we're weak. Let's show them how wrong they are. Meanwhile, the Zephyrian Confederation was gathering its forces. Fleet Admiral Koth Rex was commanding the largest alien fleet ever assembled. Over 300 warships from 3 different species were meeting at a staging area near human space. The humans showed us some new weapons yesterday, reported Intelligence Officer Kex Null. But our analysis shows they are still much weaker than us. Good, Koth Rex replied. How many human military ships do they have? Our spies report about 50 warships total, Kex Null answered. All using old fusion technology. Even with their new weapons, they cannot stand against our Grand Armada. The aliens were confident because their spies only saw Earth's public military. They had no idea about the secret fleet that had been hidden for decades. On Earth, people were starting to panic. News about the alien ultimatum was spreading everywhere. Some wanted to evacuate all the colonies immediately. Others demanded that Earth fight back even if it meant war. President Walsh appeared on television to speak to the world. My fellow humans, she said in a strong voice, we will not abandon our people in the colonies. Earth has never left its citizens behind, and we won't start now. People watching wondered how Earth could possibly fight the powerful Zephyrian Confederation. The public military seemed too small and weak. But Admiral Taylor was busy activating secret protocols that had been waiting for this moment. He sent coded messages to hidden bases throughout the solar system and beyond. Ancient listening posts that had been sleeping for decades suddenly came to life. At Titan Base, a secret fortress built inside Saturn's moon, Admiral Kate Morgan received her wake-up call. Her base had been hidden for 40 years, disguised as a research station. In reality, it housed 30 capital ships and their support vessels. Colonel Torres, she said to her chief of staff, begin Operation Lazarus procedures. It's time to reveal ourselves. Colonel Larry Torres smiled as he gave orders to his staff. They had been waiting their whole careers for this moment. The fortress began powering up systems that had been kept in standby mode for decades. Similar scenes were happening at secret bases throughout the solar system. On Europa, a hidden shipyard started final preparations on its fleet of destroyers. In the asteroid belt, camouflaged battle stations began moving toward strategic positions. Beyond Pluto, long-range scout ships started their engines for the first time in years. Dr. Patel coordinated with research teams at all the hidden facilities. Her quantum communication network allowed instant contact with bases that were light years apart. This gave human forces a huge advantage that the aliens couldn't understand or counter. All stations report ready, she told Admiral Taylor. The fleet can be fully operational in 48 hours. Excellent, Admiral Taylor replied. The aliens gave us 72 hours. They have no idea we only need 2 days to be ready for them. Captain Morrison finally reached Earth after his dangerous journey from the trade station. When he landed, government agents immediately brought him to meet with Admiral Taylor. Captain, your report about the attack helped us make an important decision, Admiral Taylor told him. Would you like to see what we're really capable of? Morrison followed the Admiral to a secret viewing room deep under the Pentagon. When Admiral Taylor activated the screens, Morrison couldn't believe what he saw. Dozens of advanced warships were moving through space, preparing for battle. These ships looked nothing like the simple vessels he thought made up Earth's military. How long has this been going on? Morrison asked in shock. Since before you were born, Admiral Taylor replied. We learned long ago that the galaxy is a dangerous place. Earth has been preparing for this war for over 50 years. As the secret fleet moved into position, alien spy networks frantically tried to figure out what was happening. Their sensors were detecting massive ships that shouldn't exist. Energy signatures that were completely unknown, movement patterns that suggested a military force far larger than their intelligence reports indicated. Commander Vextor, who had led the attack at the trade station, was studying the reports with confusion. This cannot be right, he told his intelligence staff. Humans don't have technology like this. Sir, our sensors don't lie, his officer replied nervously. The humans are hiding something very big. For the first time since the crisis began, some of the Zephyrian leaders started to worry. Maybe the humans weren't as weak as they had thought. But it was too late to back down now. The Grand Armada was already moving toward human space, confident in their superior numbers and firepower. They had no idea they were flying into a trap that had been 50 years in the making. Captain Morrison was flying his cargo ship back toward the Mars orbital stations when the Zephyrian ships found him. He had been hoping to reach safety, but 3 alien warships appeared on his sensors, moving fast to intercept his route. "Captain, we have company," Lisa Chang said from her navigation station. Her voice was tight with fear. 3 Zephyrian cruisers coming in fast. Morrison looked at his small crew. Tony Rodriguez was already trying to squeeze more speed from their engines, but cargo ships weren't built to outrun military vessels. "Can we make it to the Mars defense stations?" Morrison asked. "Not at this speed," Tony replied, shaking his head. "They'll catch us in about 10 minutes. The lead alien ship opened a communication channel. Commander Vextor's ugly face appeared on Morrison's screen. The alien looked pleased with himself. "Human cargo ship, you will stop your engines immediately," Vextor ordered. "You carry supplies to colonies that should not exist. Today you will serve as an example of what happens to humans who defy us." Morrison felt anger burning in his chest. This was the same alien who had murdered innocent people at the trade station. "I'm carrying medical supplies to sick children," Morrison replied. "You want to kill me for that?" "Your children should not be in our space," Vextor snarled. "Prepare to die." The alien ships moved closer, their weapons charging with deadly energy. Morrison closed his eyes and prepared for the end. His small ship had no chance against 3 military cruisers. Then something impossible happened. A new ship appeared on the sensors, seeming to come from nowhere. It was sleek and black, bigger than Morrison's cargo vessel but smaller than the alien cruisers. Most importantly, it was human. "Unknown human vessel, this is the UHS Shadowbane," came a calm voice over the radio. "We are here to help." Captain Nick Stevens stood on the bridge of his ship watching the alien vessels through his tactical display. His crew had been waiting 20 years for this moment. His weapons officer, Lieutenant Grace Martinez, was already targeting the enemy ships. "Sir, all 3 aliens are locking weapons on the cargo ship," reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Pete Jackson. "Then let's introduce ourselves," Stevens said with a cold smile. "Grace, are the particle beams ready?" "Yes, sir, fully charged and targeted," Grace replied. "Fire." The Shadowbane's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Instead of the plasma bolts or laser beams that most species used, these were focused streams of quantum energy. The beams struck the lead Zephyrian cruiser and cut through its energy shields like they weren't even there. Commander Vextor stared in shock as his ship's shields failed instantly. Alarms were ringing throughout his vessel as his crew reported impossible damage patterns. "What kind of weapon is that?" he demanded from his tactical officer. "Unknown, sir. Our shields had no effect at all." The beam went right through them. The Shadowbane moved with surprising speed for a ship its size. Captain Stevens had trained his crew to work together perfectly, and it showed. They disabled the second alien ship's engines before it could even fire back. "Morrison, this is Stevens." The rescue ship's captain radioed. "Get out of here. We'll handle these 3. Morrison didn't need to be told twice. His cargo ship accelerated toward Mars while behind him, the impossible battle continued. The 3rd Zephyrian ship tried to flee, but the Shadowbane was much faster. Lieutenant Martinez targeted the alien vessel's weapon systems with surgical precision, leaving it helpless but not destroyed. Commander Vextor realized he was beaten, but he couldn't understand how. Human ships weren't supposed to have weapons like this. Human technology was supposed to be primitive compared to Zephyrian science. "Retreat," he ordered his surviving ships. "We must report this to the High Command." Captain Stevens watched the damaged alien vessels limp away. He could have destroyed all 3 easily, but his orders were to show strength while leaving survivors to carry the message back. "Should we pursue, sir?" Lieutenant Jackson asked. "No," Stevens replied. "Let them go. They need to tell their friends what they saw here." The news of the encounter reached both Earth and the Zephyrian Confederation quickly. On Earth, President Walsh met again with Admiral Taylor and her other advisors. A single human ship defeated 3 alien cruisers? Defense Secretary Johnson asked in amazement. "The Shadowbane is just one of our newer vessels," Admiral Taylor explained. "We have many more where that came from." Secretary of State Brooks looked worried. "Won't this make the aliens more aggressive?" "Perhaps," Admiral Taylor said. "But now they know we're not as helpless as they thought. That might make them think twice about their ultimatum." President Walsh made a decision. "Admiral, I'm authorizing you to reveal the first phase of our capabilities to the public. It's time our people knew they're not defenseless." Meanwhile, in the Zephyrian fleet, Commander Vextor was trying to explain what had happened to his superiors. The alien high command was meeting an emergency session aboard their flagship. "You claim a single human ship destroyed your shields instantly?" Fleet Admiral Koth Rex asked with disbelief. "Yes, sir," Vextor replied, still shaken by the encounter. "Their weapons cut right through our defenses. I've never seen technology like that." Intelligence Officer Kexnol studied the battle recordings with growing alarm. "Sir, the energy signatures are completely unknown. This technology doesn't match anything in our databases." "Impossible," Kothrex declared. "Humans are a primitive species. They barely mastered interstellar travel a century ago." "Sir," another officer interrupted, "we're detecting unusual activity throughout human space. Ships are moving that we've never seen before. Energy readings that don't match known human technology." For the first time, some doubt crept into Kothrex's mind. But he had already committed the Grand Armada to this attack. 300 warships were moving toward human space. It was too late to turn back now. Back on Earth, President Walsh held a press conference that shocked the world. She showed footage of the Shadowbane's battle with the Zephyrian ships, carefully edited to display their advanced weapons without revealing too much about their capabilities. "My fellow humans," the president announced, "Earth has not been idle while we explored the galaxy. We have been preparing for threats like this. Our colonies will be defended by all available means." The public reaction was explosive. Some people were amazed that Earth had such advanced ships. Others were angry that the government had kept this secret for so long. Most were just relieved that they weren't as defenseless as they had thought. Dr. Maya Patel was coordinating final preparations at research facilities throughout the solar system. Her quantum communication network allowed her to manage upgrades to the entire secret fleet in real time. "All ships report. Ready for Phase 2 deployment," she told. Admiral Taylor over the secure channel. "Excellent work, Doctor," Admiral Taylor replied. "How long before the main battle fleet is ready?" 48 hours, sir. But I recommend we show them a little more of what we can do first." At hidden bases throughout the solar system, commanders were preparing their ships for the coming battle. Admiral Kate Morgan's force at Titan Base was powering up 30 capital ships that had been hidden for decades. Commander Alex Rivera's dreadnought, Olympus, was running final system checks. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes gathered his Shadow Squadron pilots for their mission briefing. "The aliens think they caught us off guard," he told his pilots. "They think that one ship was all we had. Tomorrow they're going to learn how wrong they are." Captain Sophie Kim raised her hand. "Sir, what are our rules of engagement?" "Disable if possible, destroy if necessary," Hayes replied. "But remember, we want some of them to survive to report back to their fleet. Fear is a weapon too." Throughout Zephyrian space, spy networks were working frantically to understand what had happened. Their best intelligence agencies were trying to locate the source of humanity's new technology. What they found terrified them. Deep space sensors were detecting massive construction facilities that shouldn't exist. Hidden shipyards that had been invisible for decades were suddenly showing signs of activity. Most disturbing of all, they were finding evidence of human settlements and bases in places they had never suspected. "How long have they been preparing for this?" one Zephyrian intelligence officer asked his superior. "We don't know," came the worried reply, "but it might be much longer than we thought." Commander Vextor was studying tactical reports in his quarters when an aide brought him new information that made his blood run cold. "Sir, our deep space monitors have detected human ship movements throughout the outer system. The numbers are far higher than our previous estimates." Vextor looked at the data with growing dread. If these reports were accurate, the humans had been lying about their military strength for decades. The Grand Armada might be flying into a trap, but when he tried to contact Fleet Admiral Kothrex with his concerns, he was told the Admiral was too busy with battle preparations to see him. The alien fleet continued toward human space. Confident in their superior numbers and firepower, they had no idea that humanity had been expecting this moment for over 50 years, and that every ship in their Grand Armada was already being tracked by sensors they didn't know existed. The trap was set. All that remained was for the aliens to fly into it. Fleet Admiral Kothrex stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, looking at the holographic display that showed his entire armada. 312 warships from 3 different alien species were moving together toward human space. It was the largest military force the Zephyrian Confederation had ever assembled. Intelligence reports that humans have some new weapons, he told his staff officers. But numbers will win this battle. They cannot stand against our Grand Armada. His second-in-command, Admiral Yexkul, nodded in agreement. Our scouts report only a few dozen human ships in their outer system. Even with better weapons, they are vastly outnumbered. What the aliens didn't know was that their massive fleet concentration had triggered humanity's ultimate defense plan. Earth's most classified protocols were now active, and Admiral Taylor was coordinating with fleet commanders who had been waiting decades for this moment. At Outpost Cerberus in the Oort cloud, Commander Alex Rivera watched as his hidden base revealed its true nature. What had appeared to be a simple research station was actually one of the most advanced shipyards in human space. "Open all the bays," Alex ordered his crew. "It's time to show the galaxy what we've really been building out here." Massive doors opened in the asteroid, revealing the UHS Olympus. The dreadnought was enormous, larger than any human ship the aliens had ever seen. Its armor gleamed with a strange metallic sheen that seemed to bend light around it. This was adaptive armor, designed by Dr. Patel to automatically adjust to different types of weapons. "Sir, the Olympus reports all systems ready," said Lieutenant Sarah Mills. "Captain Rivera requests permission to take command of the battle group." "Permission granted," Alex replied. "And Sarah, activate the quantum communication network. It's time for all our hidden forces to coordinate." Far out beyond Neptune's orbit, Admiral Kate Morgan was commanding an even larger surprise. Titan Base had been disguised as a simple research station for 40 years. In reality, it was a massive fortress built inside a rogue planet that had been captured and moved into position decades earlier. "Colonel Torres, begin Phase 3 deployment," Kate ordered her chief of staff. Colonel Larry Torres smiled as he activated systems that had been waiting in standby mode for most of his career. "All ships report ready, Admiral. 30 capital ships, 47 destroyers, and 93 support vessels." The hidden fleet that emerged from Titan Base was larger than most nations' entire space navies. These weren't the simple fusion-powered ships that aliens had seen before. They used antimatter reactors reverse-engineered from captured alien technology, combined with human innovations that pushed the limits of physics. At bases throughout the solar system, similar scenes were playing out. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt opened to reveal squadrons of destroyers. Camouflaged battle stations near Jupiter activated weapon systems that had been secretly installed over decades. Even some of the mining operations on various moons suddenly showed their true nature as military facilities. Dr. Maya Patel was coordinating all of this from her secret laboratory on the far side of the moon. Her quantum entanglement communication system allowed instant coordination between ships that were light years apart. "All stations report ready," she told Admiral Taylor over the secure channel. "We have over 400 warships now active, with more coming online every hour." 400? Admiral Taylor asked. "I thought we had about 200 in the secret fleet." "Sir, some of our deep space construction projects finished ahead of schedule," Maya replied with a smile. "We've been very busy these past few years." Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes received his orders to deploy the Shadow Squadron at full strength. His elite pilots had been training in secret for decades, flying fighters that officially didn't exist. "All right, people," he told his 30 pilots during their final briefing. "The aliens think they know what human technology can do. Today we show them they're wrong about everything." Captain Sophie Kim and Major Danny Clark checked their advanced fighters one last time. These weren't the simple interceptors that aliens had seen in previous encounters. They used adaptive camouflage that made them nearly invisible, quantum-enhanced engines that could outrun anything in space, and miniaturized particle beam weapons that could destroy ships much larger than themselves. "How do you think the aliens will react when they see all of this?" Danny asked Sophie as they walked to their ships. "Probably the same way we would if we found out the aliens had been hiding a fleet 10 times larger than we expected," Sophie replied. Total shock followed by panic. The Zephyrian Grand Armada continued moving toward human space, but their confidence was starting to crack. Deep space sensors were detecting ship movements on a scale that didn't match their intelligence reports. "Sir?" Intelligence Officer Kex Null reported to Fleet Admiral Koth Rex. "We're reading massive gravitational distortions throughout the human system. It suggests fleet movements far exceeding our estimates." "How far exceeding?" Kothrex demanded. Sir, if these readings are accurate, the humans have more ships than we do. The alien commander slammed his fist on his command console. Impossible. Our spies have been watching them for years. They have maybe 50 warships total. Sir, what if our spies were only seeing what the humans wanted them to see? Suggested Admiral Yexcool quietly. For the first time since the crisis began, Kothrex felt real doubt. But he had already committed his entire fleet to this attack. To turn back now would be seen as cowardice by the Confederation Council. Continue the advance, he ordered. Even if they have more ships than expected, we still have superior technology. Commander Vextor, who had survived the encounter with the Shadowbane, was studying the new intelligence reports with growing alarm. The energy signatures they were detecting didn't match any known human technology. In fact, some of them were more advanced than Zephyrian science. Sir, I request permission to speak with the fleet admiral, Vextor told his superior. The admiral is busy with battle preparations, came the reply. Your concerns have been noted. But Vextor's concerns weren't just noted, they were ignored. The Zephyrian command structure was too rigid to adapt quickly to new information. On Earth, President Walsh was preparing for the most important speech of her presidency. The time for secrets was over. Humanity needed to know that they had never been defenseless. My fellow humans, and to any aliens who might be listening, she began, speaking to cameras that would broadcast her words throughout the galaxy. For over 50 years, Earth has been preparing for this moment. The president activated a holographic display that showed the true scope of humanity's secret military. Hundreds of advanced warships were visible throughout the solar system, hidden bases on dozens of worlds, technology that rivaled or exceeded anything the major alien powers possessed. We have never been the weak, primitive species that others believed us to be. President Walsh continued. We learned early that the galaxy can be a dangerous place, so we prepared in secret, hoping we would never need to reveal what we had built. The reaction throughout human space was immediate and dramatic. People who had been terrified of the alien ultimatum suddenly felt hope. Their government had been protecting them all along, building a fleet that could stand against any threat. The reaction in alien space was very different. Every major power in the galaxy was frantically reassessing their intelligence about humanity. If Earth had been hiding this much military strength, what else were they hiding? The Zephyrian Confederation was facing the most serious crisis in their history. Their Grand Armada, which had seemed overwhelmingly powerful just hours before, now looked like it might be outnumbered and outgunned. Should we call off the attack? Admiral Yexcool asked Fleet Admiral Kothrex during an emergency meeting. And look like cowards in front of the entire galaxy? Kothrex replied angrily. No, we proceed with the attack. Even if they have more ships, we still have the element of surprise. What Kothrex didn't know was that humanity had been tracking every ship in his fleet since they left Zephyrian space. Earth's deep space sensor network, built secretly over decades, meant that no alien vessel could approach without being detected. Admiral Taylor stood in Earth's hidden command center, deep beneath the Pentagon. Around him, displays showed the position of every human and alien ship within 100 light-years. The secret fleet was moving into position with precision that would have been impossible without Dr. Patel's quantum communication system. All units report ready, his aide informed him. The Olympus battle group is in position. Titan base has deployed its full fleet. Shadow Squadron is standing by for launch orders. And our friends? Admiral Taylor asked. Captain Morrison's report helped us identify several minor alien species who have been threatened by Zephyrian expansion. 3 of them have agreed to provide intelligence support. Admiral Taylor smiled. The Zephyrians had made the classic mistake of creating too many enemies. When Earth revealed its hidden strength, other species were eager to help against their common foe. As the alien Grand Armada approached the edge of human space, they began detecting human ships on their sensors, but the numbers kept growing far beyond their worst estimates. Sir, we now count over 300 human vessels, reported the Zephyrian sensor officer. That can't be right. The Battle of Saturn's Rings began when Zephyrian scout ships encountered the human fleet near Titan. Fleet Admiral Kothrex had expected to find a small defensive force. Instead, his sensors showed over 400 human warships arranged in perfect battle formation. This is impossible, he muttered, staring at the tactical display. Where did all these ships come from? Admiral Taylor commanded the human fleet from his flagship, the UHS Constitution. Around him, displays showed the positions of every ship in both fleets. His secret weapon wasn't just advanced technology, it was perfect coordination through Dr. Patel's quantum communication system. All units, this is Admiral Taylor, he broadcast to the human fleet. The aliens wanted a demonstration of human strength. Let's give them one they'll never forget. Commander Alex Rivera led the advance force aboard the massive dreadnought Olympus. His ship alone was larger than most alien cruisers, and its weapons were decades ahead of anything the Zephyrians had seen. "Sir, enemy fleet is moving to attack formation," reported Lieutenant Sarah Mills from the tactical station. "Then let's introduce ourselves properly," Alex replied. "All ships engage at maximum range. Show them what 50 years of preparation looks like." The human fleet opened fire with weapons that redefined space combat. Dr. Patel's particle beam arrays cut through alien energy, shields like they were made of paper. Quantum-enhanced missiles created explosions that disabled entire squadrons of enemy ships. Most shocking of all, the human vessels seemed to coordinate their attacks with impossible precision. Fleet Admiral Koth Rex watched in horror as his front line crumbled under the human assault. Ships that had seemed invincible just moments before were being disabled by weapons they couldn't understand or defend against. "Return fire," he ordered. "All ships, maximum firepower." The Zephyrian fleet responded with everything they had. Plasma cannons and energy missiles filled space with deadly light. But when their weapons struck the human ships, something incredible happened. The human vessel's adaptive armor analyzed each attack and automatically adjusted to provide better protection. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes led his Shadow Squadron into the heart of the alien formation. His 30 advanced fighters moved through enemy fire like ghosts, their adaptive camouflage making them nearly impossible to target. "All right, Shadow Squadron," he radioed to his pilots. "Time to show these aliens what human pilots can really do." Captain Sophie Kim dove her fighter through a formation of alien destroyers, her particle beams precisely targeting their weapon systems. "It's like shooting fish in a barrel," she reported. "Their targeting systems can't even see us properly." Major Danny Clark was having similar success against the alien fighters. "Their pilots are good," he admitted, "but their ships can't keep up with ours. It's not even fair." The Shadow Squadron's attack had a psychological effect far beyond the physical damage they caused. Alien pilots who had never encountered human fighters like these began to panic. Some broke formation and tried to retreat, spreading chaos through their ranks. Admiral Kate Morgan's battle group from Titan Base engaged the alien heavy cruisers. Her capital ships had been hidden for 40 years, armed with weapons that combined the best alien technology with human innovation. "Colonel Torres, target their command ships," she ordered her chief of staff. "If we can disrupt their coordination, this battle will be over quickly." "Yes, ma'am," Colonel Larry Torres replied, directing the fleet's fire with devastating precision. "Their quantum communication jamming is working perfectly. They can't coordinate their attacks." Dr. Patel had spent years developing ways to disrupt alien communication systems. Her quantum interference generators created localized fields that blocked most forms of interstellar communication, leaving the alien fleet unable to coordinate their response to the human attack. But the most shocking moment came when Admiral Taylor deployed his secret weapon. The Olympus activated a device that Dr. Patel had spent 20 years perfecting, a quantum disruption field generator. Firing quantum disruptor, Alex Rivera announced from the Olympus bridge. The weapon created a localized distortion in space-time itself. Alien ships caught in the field found their engines and weapons completely disabled, but without the massive destruction that conventional weapons would cause. Dozens of enemy vessels simply stopped working, floating helplessly in space. Commander Vextor, who had led the original attack on human traders, found his ship caught in the quantum field. As his vessel's systems failed one by one, he finally understood the truth that terrified him. "They were never weak," he said quietly to his crew. "They were hiding. They've been preparing for this war longer than we've been alive." Fleet Admiral Koth Rex realized his Grand Armada was doomed. In less than 2 hours, he had lost over half his ships. The humans weren't just winning, they were demonstrating technology that would change the balance of power in the entire galaxy. "Sir, should we order a retreat?" Admiral Yexkul asked desperately. "With what?" Koth Rex replied bitterly. "Half our ships are disabled, and the other half can barely move. We're surrounded by a fleet that we didn't even know existed. At that moment, President Walsh's voice was broadcast directly to every ship in the Zephyrian fleet. The human leader appeared on their screens, speaking calmly despite the battle raging around them. "Fleet Admiral Koth Rex, I am President Karen Walsh of Earth," she said. "I am prepared to offer terms for an immediate ceasefire." The alien commander stared at the screen in shock. How did the humans know his name? How were they broadcasting directly to his ship's internal systems? "You have seen a demonstration of our defensive capabilities," President Walsh continued. "But this is only the first wave. Earth has defensive systems that make what you've seen today look primitive. End this attack now, and your surviving ships can return home safely." Kothrex looked around his bridge at his terrified crew. His sensors showed human reinforcements still arriving from deeper in their system. "If this was only their first wave, what else were they hiding?" "Admiral," his communications officer said quietly. "We're receiving similar messages from 3 minor species offering to mediate a ceasefire. It seems the humans have allies we didn't know about." The alien commander realized he had been completely outmaneuvered. Not only had Earth hidden their true military strength, they had been building alliances with other species who feared Zephyrian expansion. "Open a channel to the human flagship," Kothrex said quietly. "Admiral Taylor, this is Fleet Admiral Koth Rex," he said when the connection was established. "I request terms for ceasefire. Withdrawal of all Zephyrian forces from disputed territories," Admiral Taylor replied immediately. "Recognition of human colony rights, and formal negotiations for a non-aggression treaty within 30 days. Kothrex knew he had no choice. His fleet was beaten, and continuing the fight would only result in more casualties. "Agreed," he said reluctantly. "All Zephyrian ships cease fire immediately. Begin withdrawal procedures." As the alien fleet limped away from the battle zone, the scope of their defeat became clear to the rest of the galaxy. News of the battle spread quickly through interstellar communication networks. The humans, who had been seen as a minor species with outdated technology, had just defeated the most powerful military force in known space. Captain Morrison, watching the battle from a safe distance, could hardly believe what he was seeing. The cargo captain who had witnessed the original alien attack now understood that Earth had been planning this response for decades. "They knew this would happen," he said to his crew. "They've been ready for this war since before we were born." The galactic reaction was immediate and dramatic. 7 minor species that had been threatened by Zephyrian expansion requested defense agreements with Earth. 3 major powers that had previously ignored humanity suddenly wanted to establish diplomatic relations. Dr. Patel's quantum communication network was flooded with messages from alien scientists wanting to understand human technology. Species that had considered humans primitive were now desperate to learn from Earth's innovations. Admiral Taylor addressed the human fleet as they secured the battlefield. "Today, we revealed Earth's true strength to the galaxy," he said. "But remember, our greatest strength has always been our willingness to defend the innocent and protect those who cannot protect themselves." President Walsh held a press conference that was broadcast throughout human space and beyond. "The hidden fleet will now transition to public service," she announced. "Earth stands ready to defend not just our own colonies, but any species threatened by aggressive expansion." The age of human vulnerability in space was over. Earth had revealed itself as a major galactic power, with technology and military strength that rivaled the greatest civilizations in known space. But more importantly, humanity had shown that they preferred cooperation to conquest. Even after their devastating victory, they offered mercy to their enemies and protection to smaller species. Fleet Admiral Koth Rex, returning to Zephyrian space with his damaged fleet, would spend years trying to explain to his superiors how badly they had underestimated humanity. The species they had dismissed as weak and primitive had been preparing for this confrontation for over half a century. Commander Vextor, whose attack on innocent traders had started the crisis, found himself facing a war